All right, this is If My People Bible reading, part 75, the book of Numbers. We just finished in 74 with Miriam and Aaron began to talk against Moses because of his Cushite wife, for he had married a Cushite. And he has, it says in verse 12, or chapter 12, verse 1 and verse 2, has Yahweh spoken only through Moses? They asked. Hasn't he also spoken through us? And Yahweh heard this. Now Moses was a very humble man, more humble than anyone on the face of the earth. At once Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron and Miriam, come out of the tent of meeting, all three of you. So the three of them came out. Then Yahweh came down in a pillar of cloud. He stood at the entrance of the tent and summoned Aaron and Miriam. And when both of them stepped forward, he said, listen to my words. When a prophet of Yahweh is among you, I reveal myself to him in visions. I speak to him in dreams. The key words is him, and as in he, and then him as in male. Uh-oh. These days you can't do that. Everything has always got to be, well, now see, we got all these people for the government, but we got to have women. And okay, now it doesn't mean the right one or the wrong one, it just means women. Oh, and now we got to have someone of a different color or face, and now it's getting to just it's all over the map as far as today. Yahweh doesn't go all over the map. He doesn't change his mind, and he doesn't. He's not a sexist. He has everybody assigned to the gifts that he gives them and the glory that comes with it. But that's not the society we live in, is it? So that's 12, and in 13 now it's one thing after another. Moses sends one from each tribe, 12, to Canaan and the land that he's promised to give them, that he has given them, and that he will give them, and that they will take over one day. But so, by the way, in today, the year 2020, they're not living in the land. It's only a little piece of it. It's very infinitesimal compared to the Euphrates River to the river of Egypt. Are you kidding me? And all they have is this piece. All right. So no, the promise that Yahweh has given in Numbers has not occurred yet. Once again, the importance of reading the entire Bible from beginning to end. So when you get the New Testament, you Christians, you'll know all about what happened in the Old and why things happen the way they do. Okay? So only one says, let's do it. Let's go get up there. Let's take the land now. We'll be in the promised land within 6 weeks of leaving Egypt. Well, it doesn't work out, as we know. So Caleb, the son of Jephunneh from the tribe of Judah, is the only one that says, let's do it. Moses wants to do it. A lot of people want to do it. Most people don't want to do it. Moses loses. So as a result of that, Yahweh knows exactly what's going to happen. So, they're turned away. When Exodus, this is Numbers, a little bit more detail. Deuteronomy, also detail. Levitical, also detail of what happens in Exodus. It gives a little bit better explanation. It's not just 4 books in a row that says the same thing. More detail, more coming out. And Yahweh is saying that the soil is this way, and you people need to go and take it. I will be with you, and they just don't believe it. So then Caleb silenced the people. That's in 1330, and before Moses, and said, "We should go up and take the possession of the land, and we can certainly do it." Now it's important to note, as mentioned as a comment, Genesis 6, for the descendants of Anak came from the Nephilim, who came from the Watchers, who came from the fallen ones. Just 40 years ago, you would have never seen mention of DNA manipulation, plant GMOs, cross-gene research in Bible commentary. This Bible is full of physics, it's full of Maseroth, it's full of math, it's full of history. I'm going to give it to you. It's so obvious, just looking out your window, about how this world works. Nothing contradicts what's being written in this word that was written thousands of years ago. Nothing. Nothing. And so for the many Christians who fell away from the faith years ago because they thought science, we live in a time where science can save us. Science is going to send us straight down the toilet. Okay? It's if you depend on science and the people who run the colleges today, your education is better at reading the Bible, home study, and going to the library, online, Google, Microsoft, all the people that are like that. Most of them are not believers in Yahweh. Most of the school instructors, most of the Ivy League colleges, whose names and titles on the buildings said something about Yahweh on all of them, and yet they can't read Latin and they have no idea. They're sitting there blaspheming Yahweh on all these college campuses, and if they turn around and look on the entrance of the building of Harvard and Yale and all this, Columbia College, all that, they would see the hand of the faith that built those colleges. And it wasn't science. Okay. Chapter 14. Where are we at? 6 minutes, 20 seconds. We're doing all right. Chapter 14. That night, the people of the community raised their voices. And okay, now they're whining and griping, and they're not going. They're not going. And Aaron, Moses fell down. I mean, they're getting very upset because they know what's going to happen, and it does. They turn the next page, and we're not even in chapter 15 yet, and Yahweh said, "Okay, I'll kill them all." He's had it. Here we are again. First Earth Age, he had to do some major reconstruction to create Second Earth Age. Then the time of Noah, the Third Earth Age, he did some major reconstruction of the plate tectonics and everything else that goes with that. But Cain went out with the seed of Eve. His seed, and Eve came from Adam. So therefore all life that goes to heaven comes from Adam. But was Adam the first humanoid human walking on this earth? No, because when Cain went out, Adam and Eve lived in the garden. There's a reason there's a garden with a big fence gate around it. What's it keeping them from? Dinosaurs? Tyrannosaurus rexes? All kinds of people who are not of the seed, but once Cain's seed got into the women in the cities and the population just exploded, there's where humanity came from today, with all our 5 major races and 257 different types of cultures and ethnic backgrounds that are so obvious. That's so obvious that we're not from the 8 people in the ark, but they were in the ark itself, and they came out and repopulated, and within 2 generations, now add it up, within 2 generations of Noah leaving the ark, Nimrod built a city full of people. And these people were so numerous that when they were spread all over the earth again, and they went back to where their old haunts were, that's where we have these 257 different type of people living on this earth. Plain and simple. So easy. Does that contradict the word? No. Does it contradict the majority of all the preachers and pastors and Orthodox rabbis? They know everything. They got their Kabbalah and their fancy stuff they do, and the wizardry and the pharmacias and everything. Yeah, it certainly tells you where they come from, the type of people you're dealing with today. And if Yahweh saves 100 million people, 500 million people, that's a remnant, folks. When he comes back, if he saves 500 million people, because I use that number because that's on the stone of Georgia, in Georgia, that's what it says. And you read that stone, that is a type of worldly, anti-Yeshua stone to destroy the majority of all the people. That's a Bill Gates special. That's a Bill Gates. Yeah, we're going to make, you ever hear him? He says it right to you on YouTube. Yeah, we're going to create vaccines so we can depopulate the world. Did you ever listen to his statements? He says we're going to save the people and depopulate the world. Um, Listen to it. It's insanity. They can't help but to say what they're thinking because that's what they're thinking. There's a lot of people involved in this. And if Yahweh saves 500 million people, then that means around today, around 7 billion people are going to perish because they're not believers. Wow, that's a big deal. So that's what this book of Numbers is all about. It kind of puts you and lays it out today. Chapter 16, 17, it's all about do's and don'ts again. And as I brought it up, showing you the 1050 Torah commands in the New Covenant, we find that the book of Numbers really understands how they did things then and to compare it to now. So, for instance, in chapter 19, do we have time? Yeah, I got time to read that. I'll start with 19. 19, verse 1. Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron, "This is a requirement of the law that Yahweh has commanded. Tell the Israelites to bring you a red heifer without defect or blemish and that has never been under a yoke." What's all that all about when you read about all the animals? Yeshua is the Lamb of Yahweh. Okay, he is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He came first time as a lamb. He's going second time as the Lion. The same Yeshua, not another one. And this particular ritual that they went through, prescribed, the Levites followed, is they took a perfect red heifer, which they're still looking for today, to start all this all over again, which is a horrible sign to come. You don't want any more blood sacrificing. So what they're about to do, and that many Christians believe that this is great. Oh, the Jews are going to start sacrificing on the temple again. No, you don't want that to happen. It's going to be the wrong Christ standing up there. It's the wrong one. The real one would never do it. Why? If the real Yeshua showed up and started sacrificing at the temple site where the mosque is, not the mosque, but the dome of the rock. First of all, that's not where his temple was. But even if it was, and he went through the red heifer, the whole thing, and slaughtered all animals, that is a blasphemy. That is an abomination of desolation. In other words, it's an abomination, a horrible thing, and it desolates everything because you're going back to sacrificing again, thinking you're doing the right thing. And Yeshua died and did that once and for all. Wow. So that's an abomination of desolation, not roasting a pig and eating it. As some people say, well, it happened once before during the time of the Maccabees, and they roasted the pig. No. The desolation is, the abomination is going to be when someone who says he's Yeshua starts this process all over again, because he's bringing in the very elite, and he's going to kill every one of them if he can. Right after that, they better run, just as the word says. It says, run when you see this happen. That's what that's talking about. And this ashes of red heifer, that's kind of important to understand how it goes, that the ashes, it's taken outside the camp and destroyed and burned, and then those ashes are brought back in, and the priest uses them to cleanse himself. It's a cleansing process to make the priest righteous to Yahweh for this sacrifice. So with that, we end in chapter 22, and we'll pick it up then. See you then.